Getting beat up by 9 guys in Syracuse, to me, there's not a whole lot of shame.
Welcome to the Heel to the Face podcast.
And this right here,
with your hosts, Jared Wicks, Brandon Icebreaker Clements, and Paul Boy Green Esden.
It doesn't matter what your name is. And that's the bottom line. The Stone Cold Texas. Best there is, the best there was, or the best there ever will be.
Brett screwed Brett because it's what's best for business.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. The champ is here. Oh yeah, new day rock. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya.
Tweet us using the handle @HeelToTheFace.
Woo! Let's get ready to suck it.
The bell is rung, so let's step in the ring with your hosts, Paul, Brandon, and Jared.
I might as well tag me up with my buddy from Syracuse.
The week has finally arrived. It is here. WrestleMania this upcoming Sunday. This is the Heel to the Face podcast on Sports War Radio, Rat Pack Radio, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and on YouTube. And without further ado, it is WrestleMania week. It is the biggest week of the sports entertainment year, so we have none other than the man who you hear at the beginning of our show introduced every single week. He is back from his hiatus. Paul Boy Green Esden is with us once again. Paul, welcome back to the show.
I'm sorry, I just didn't hear the Eric Bischoff music play back and better than ever, so I was somewhat disappointed by that. But welcome. Thanks for having me back, guys. This is great.
Just like Eric Bischoff, he has got some more gray hair than the last time we saw him. Paul Boy Green Esden. You can find him on Twitter at BoyGreen25. You can find my usual host, Brandon the Icebreaker Clements. You can find him on Twitter at Icebreaker21. And myself, Jared Wicks on Twitter. Most importantly, follow the show at Heel to the Face. That's where you got our Twitter questions of WrestleMania week all week long. We got more coming for you as the week comes on. We got links to our YouTube channel. We got links to our Spreaker channel, as well as that's where you're going to find some videos on YouTube and links to those videos this upcoming week live from New Orleans for WrestleMania 34 and everything it has to offer. So without further ado, let's start the show. WrestleMania week is kind of in the books. Raw, SmackDown, they're over with. It's time to focus on WrestleMania. Did you take anything away from Raw and SmackDown this past week? We'll start with you, Paul.
Absolutely not. There was a lot of filler that was going on here. Don't get me wrong, because it's such a long process getting all the way to WrestleMania. It's a year build-up, and some of these matches obviously have a little less than a year build. I'm looking at you, John Cena and The Undertaker. I really just don't know where we're going with this. I know, Jared, I had you on my afternoon sports talk radio show, as I do every Wednesday on the program, and we talked about it there. I'm just kind of perplexed by how they're doing this, because I know we talked about that perhaps this is kind of the Hardy Boys effect that we got last year, but the Hardy Boys thing kind of came out of left field. Sure, there were rumors, but those were quelled quickly when we saw they were doing other independent wrestling shows and things of that nature leading up to the week and the day of. So I just don't understand this, because now we have this sense of an expectation that something may or may not be happening at WrestleMania, and it's kind of a bummer, although there are plenty of great matches on the card.
Brandon, did you take anything away from Raw or SmackDown this past week that you felt that it was important to watch Raw or SmackDown this week to fully get you ready for WrestleMania on Sunday?
Not at all. It was a go-home show, but there really wasn't anything to it. I mean, we saw a couple of decent matches. I really enjoyed the Seth Rollins-Finn Balor match on Raw. I thought that was really good. I mean, Paul Heyman, obviously, I'll get to my tweet of the week later, but, he cuts another great promo. I mean, the rest of it was kind of,
Did you get anything out of seeing Roman Reigns look dominant against Brock Lesnar?
No, because he's going to win anyways. I guess I gave it away for who I was going to pick for the main event later, but he's going to, to be honest, he's going to win, so he needs to look good.
I felt Paul Heyman, and I was kind of hoping for this in his promo, that he would have referred to the time that Brock Lesnar had both the UFC Championship and the WWE Championship, to kind of put it in there that it's not impossible, because everybody knows that he's going back to UFC. So it would have been nice if Paul Heyman, does his thing where he says, this is a shoe, or, you want to get real for a minute. And he kind of broke down the fact that Brock Lesnar, he did it before, that he can do it again. So we can break down there maybe and say, you're right, folks, you are right. Brock Lesnar is going back to the UFC. Brock Lesnar is going back to MMA. I know you know all the rumors. I know you know know that he's going back to UFC, and it's damn true he is. But that doesn't mean one thing about him not leaving WrestleMania with the belt as well, because he can have both belts. See, he didn't really, that would have been kind of cool added, because, he kind of acknowledging the rumors, but he hasn't acknowledged the rumors that much. He obviously did say something about UFC leading up a week earlier, but kind of acknowledging the rumors, giving us that glimmer of hope that, maybe Brock Lesnar can win this match. Maybe he's
I get
done
that.
with both.
I don't think. Here's the thing. I don't see it happening. He's going back to UFC. I think Roman Reigns. He's going to be the champion.
We were at the same situation. Do you remember WrestleMania 31? We were at this same situation. Brock Lesnar was going back to the UFC. And then it was a couple days earlier on ESPN that he made official that he was actually going to stay in WWE. Now, I'm not saying that he has to stay in WWE or make that same announcement again before the match against Roman Reigns. But then when that happened, all of a sudden I watched that match with a different eye. All of a sudden, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, I was like, maybe one can win. Maybe it's not as one-sided. And I kind of was hoping for that here, Paul. What are you hoping for out of Brock Lesnar versus Paul Heyman? Or Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, I guess, in their promo leading up to WrestleMania?
Yeah, that would have been a little bit more entertaining, wouldn't it, against Paul Heyman? But no, Jared, to your point, I was somewhat surprised. When I saw the Superman punches, I thought inevitably we were going to get, a Brock Lesnar chair smash or something coming way before that, like he was going to fight back. I know eventually we got that, but I was surprised by the domination that was displayed by Roman Reigns. But I feel like there's kind of this almost expected build-up to that with, him calling him out as a part-timer, him being the full-timer, trying to get the WWE Universe behind their transcendent superstar and Roman Reigns. But I was surprised by that it was just so much domination. I know they kind of built up to it in some factions, but I was overall surprised that it wasn't more evenly tested, which sends an interesting message heading into WrestleMania.
Now, Paul, I got to ask you. Now, I know it's been a little while since we had you on the show. Speaking of MMA, former MMA greats, I should say, Ronda Rousey, since we've had you on the show last, she's now in WWE. I gotta get your take on it. I know you're a Rousey big fanatic of hers.
Yeah, your name is like Bruden Clements, right? Brandon Clements, right? I remember you guys now. Yeah, great show. I appreciate the heel to the face. It's fantastic. But yes, so much time has passed that Ronda Rousey has gone from UFC to the WWE. And I got to tell you, as a diehard Ronda Rousey fan, I have her book sitting on my desk. You're not going to find a bigger Ronda Rousey fan than me. I love it, and also the fact that she's going to be a full-time superstar. We'll see what that means over the next couple of years. I think that's going to be intriguing. The one thing I do want to see is, and, we have high expectations, and she's never done this thing before, but her on the mic. I want to see that increase. I want to see that get better, but that's only going to get better with repetition. I'm excited to see what she's going to do in the ring. We saw her at the WWE Performance Center in Florida, so I'm excited to see that development and getting kind of a first look at WrestleMania, of course. And I am glad that they did not just throw in her championship match against, Asuka or insert Alexa Bliss or whoever it was going to be. I am happy they did not do that. And, if a mixed tag match was the best we're going to get to be able to contain what Ronda Rousey is until they can use her in better forms in the future, I'm excited about it. It's great. It adds another flavor to the women's division, which I think is continuing to spiral out of control in a good way. I think it's exciting, but I am excited to see the development of her game on the mic, and hopefully that can increase for somebody who's been in front of the media her entire life.
Yeah, to your point, Paul. Regarding Ronda Rousey, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think because of her limited, obviously, skill set in the squared circle, as we like to call it, it's good to see that they're not, she doesn't have to expect it to be a 30-minute match or a 20-minute match. I mean, she's going to be in a match for a little bit, but you also have Kurt Angle and you got Triple H, and Stephanie can mix it up. So it's not like she has to carry the match or anything. So it's not making her look as much of a liability. So I'm glad to see that. Now I have to ask you, moving back to Raw. What did you make of that promo at the beginning of the show?
Well, I thought the promo at the beginning of the show was just fine. Coachman, you got to use the coach. I think that's fantastic. That's great. Ronda's getting better. I thought there's a couple of quips in there that I thought was funny. Like, I'm not going to break the arm that signs the checks. Hopefully that still works for you, Stephanie. I thought that was terrific. And, Kurt Angle was a little monotonous, was saying, she's going to make you tap out. She's going to make you tap out. I feel like they could have been a little bit more creative. But again, I think she's going to get better with repetition. I thought overall it was pretty spot on. I love how Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are saying that we own you. Oh, don't worry, when we smack you around, we're going to rebrand you. I think it's great. I think they've been doing very well. in terms of kind of the build-up to this match as best as you can do with the mixed tag. I think it's an interesting piece. And the good thing is this is not supposed to be the best fight on the card by any means. We get a technical match and a technical dream match with AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura. We get kind of the heavyweight macho fight with Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. I mean, quite literally, this WrestleMania has everything you're looking for, and this is something that will certainly be tantalizing with Rousey now on the card.
Now, I want to bring up something that is definitely surprising. It's surprising to me. I want to say it's probably going to surprise both of you, but, I mean, it surprised me amazingly just going to the fact that when this match happened, and we talked about this match happening last summer, but it's official. Carmella is now the longest Money in the Bank briefcase holder in WWE history. What do you make of her having the briefcase for 281 days? Because when she became Money in the Bank winner, I thought she was going to cash it in, or whoever was going to win the women's match would be the first to cash it in, maybe that night or on Tuesday night. But to have a woman carry this briefcase for almost a full year now, very surprising. And Baron Corbin, I mean, he lost it forever ago. But that was very surprising for me to realize. I mean, I know she has a briefcase, but to realize that she's surpassed a lot of these other people like Edge, who had it for almost a full year, the first one to have it. Seth Rollins, who cashed it in at WrestleMania. I mean, to give this accolade to Carmella, I think is a huge deal.
No, I couldn't agree more, Jared. So good point there. I also thought that this was going to be a quick cash. Whoever ended up winning it was going to use it immediately, was immediately going to turn it around and cash it in. So the fact that Carmella has juiced it this long indicates to me that they have to be holding it for one of those special occasions. The rainy day fund. Break the jar and whip it out, and maybe that means WrestleMania, or quite literally maybe the Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live after the fact. Maybe we could see a cash-in at that point.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, if it happens at WrestleMania, I mean, a little teaser. I don't know if she wins it. I guess you have to see. You know, we'll see what happens.
I guess I was surprised that she had it for so long because the women's. I mean, we can all kind of say the women's division is the same as cruiserweight division. It goes with the belt. You're really only interested in matches or people who are currently going for the championship. There's not a lot. At WrestleMania, we don't have any women's matches. You know, the Battle Royals on the kickoff show. We don't have any women's matches that aren't for the belt. There's no feuds. I mean, Sasha Banks versus Bayley could maybe do it. But other than that, there's no women's matches we want to see when the belt's not on the line. And the fact is, that's why I was very surprised that she had something, you know, to put her in the situation to keep herself relevant without being in the title picture. You know, so that was very surprising. Another thing I want to ask you guys that's very interesting. So this week at WrestleMania Access, they have for the last few years, there's going to be some live matches held, but most importantly, there's going to be tournament matches held leading up to Sunday morning's Access. I might now have to go to Sunday morning Access before WrestleMania because 8 hours of WrestleMania itself doesn't look like it's going to be enough. I'm going to have to wake up at 8 a.m. and go down to the convention center. But the NXT North American Championship, that's right, less than 24 hours after a North American NXT champion is crowned at TakeOver on Saturday night, the North American champion is going to face the winner of this week-long tournament in his first title defense at around 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. Same with the tag team championships. They'll be defending the NXT tag team champions at about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, this all has to be done by noon because that's how long the session is at Access, as well as Pete Dunne will be defending the UK championship at Access on Sunday morning as well. What do you make of all these championships, and most importantly, these ones that are defended at TakeOver and being crowned at TakeOver on Saturday night, immediately just being turned around and need to be defended on Sunday morning? Do you think that takes away from the Saturday night show? What is your take on this, Brandon? We'll start with you.
100%. This is like the championships being defended on WWE Main Event Live. Like, I just don't get. It doesn't need the extra chutzpah. WrestleMania is WrestleMania enough. If you just have some of those matches, I think they'll do their own without the championships on the line.
What do you think, Brandon?
I don't mind them. I mean, I think it's more to sell more tickets to Access. I think that's really what it comes down to.
You know, and here's what I think. So Access is a convention. You go to it once, you go to it a million times. I went to it one day, one time, and I thought that was enough. And this is a way to pretty much get money out of the WWE superfan. Like, oh, you went to Access on Thursday, you're going on Friday? What do you mean? I already saw the Undertaker urn and the Titantron set. What do I need to see? Well, there's going to be new live action. Exactly. You got to have tickets every day. So whoever has Access tickets on Thursday, now if you're one of these super fans, you want to go and see the matches on Sunday morning. You want to see the semifinals matches on Saturday.
Is Access? Are they going to stream that on the network? Or
no, I don't believe that. They have it in years past. So no, I don't believe they will.
I'm just curious. Maybe I guess they're just going to make it kind of like a live event, so to speak. I mean, if
you're
saying
it'd be very surprising that the championships most likely won't change hands, is what you're believing.
I think they're just going to put it on a performance. I don't see. I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, we've seen it locally here in Syracuse where they've put like the championship matches on. It normally does not happen. I would say I'm 99% sure that they're probably the titles aren't going to change hands.
I guess with the UK title is one thing because it's not being defended at TakeOver, but the fact that you're crowning a new North American champion on Saturday night, and then you're telling the fans, well, he could lose that by the time WrestleMania even kicks off on Sunday.
Yeah, he'll lose it in 12 hours.
Yeah, they're going to go through this big ladder match at TakeOver. But again, a lot of these people who are in this North American Championship are somebody I might want to pay to see. Now, $50 to go see one or two matches that I'm interested in at Access, if I've already been to Access, is a steep price. But we obviously saw people paid $1,000 to see literally one match on Monday Night Raw back at the 25th anniversary show. A couple months ago.
Yeah.
So some of these super fans, for example, like that sit front row every single night, you'll probably see them at Access to see these matches because these same super fans are probably at Access tomorrow morning when it opens up. So it gets a way to get more money to get people to visit Access more than once or to visit Access if they weren't going to. So it is intriguing, but it does take a little bit away from the belt. And more importantly, it's just that's a lot of wrestling for one day.
Yeah, but if you're a super fan, it's okay. And
I mean,
Jared, you're fine. Plus, you got a lot going on that weekend.
WrestleMania is, like I said, going to be an 8-hour day just by itself. So to get up in the morning and go see like 3 or 4 live matches before WrestleMania, whew,
that is like a 12-hour wrestling day?
That is a long day. So we're going to take our first break. When we get back, we are going to have our Twitter question of the week kind of revisited. We'll get our takes of some of the best WrestleMania pre-match promos from our panel, as well as give out our tweets of the week as you are listening to the WrestleMania special edition of the Heel of the Face podcast on Sports War Radio, Rat Pack Radio, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and on YouTube.
The New York Jets are rising and are ready to compete in the AFC. Boyd Green and Ty Butler will give you everything you need to know about the Jets every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. From reviewing the previous game and looking ahead to the next matchup, to all of the news and 4 downs, the Jet Zone has everything. Follow at BoyGreen25 and at Ty D. Butler on Twitter. Proud member of Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
This program is simulcast on WRPR Rat Pack Radio. Go to ratpacksports.com for more information.
Do you want to stay up to date on the latest sports news? Come check out After the Whistle from 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday night. We talk about the NHL, we talk about the NFL, we talk about the MLB, you name it, we got it. Tune in on Sports War Radio.
Now is the time to get your voice heard. Sports War Radio is now accepting applications for driven and knowledgeable sports fans who want to start their very own podcast about their favorite team. Sports War Radio has an international audience and is growing fast. Don't miss the chance to become the go-to news source for your favorite team. Email sportswarradio@gmail.com and tell us why you would be a great addition to our team. Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
Now is the time to get your voice heard. Sports War Radio is now accepting applications for driven and knowledgeable sports fans who want to start their very own podcast about their favorite team. Sports War Radio has an international audience and is growing fast. Don't miss the chance to become the go-to news source for your favorite team. Email sportswarradio@gmail.com and tell us why you would be a great addition to our team. Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
Let's get back to the action. This is the Heel to the Face podcast on Sports War Radio.
Till I'm victorious, and I will defend.
We are back here on the Heel to the Face podcast, WrestleMania special edition. It is now time for our social media segments of the week, WrestleMania style. So without further ado, let's get to our tweets of the week. Paul, you haven't been on the show in a while. Let's get the tweet of the week from you first. You got one for us?
Yes, I do. So what I wanted to do was, I haven't been here in a while. There's no question about it. So I needed to start us off with a bang here in terms of the WrestleMania tweets, and this is the time of the year. So I was trying to look through. I didn't want to go with the normal because I know a lot of the time. First, let me ask this question. Has Brandon continued to use WWE creative humor every week?
No, I have not.
Not every week, but
Every once in a blue moon. Just if it's been a soft week. But mine actually this week is not WWE creative humor.
he uses WWE creative humor as often as a Major League Baseball game gets rained out. Now, that's
come on
what,
now. It's like
33.333% of the time.
I would give it more like 25%.
Either way, it's more than 1%.
Yes, more than 1%. Yes. Paul, go ahead with your tweet.
Okay. So my tweet of the week, what I wanted to use was Heel Tim, not Heel 10.
Oh, I've used him before.
Yes. Again, he's been a really funny guy in the past. Wrestling Spark. He's got over 20,000 followers, and it's a interesting. I got to give him props for making this. He just has cute. So in terms of the actual tweet, it's not that great, but he mixed two videos together of first off, Shinsuke Nakamura was about to give the Shin Kata right to AJ Styles, right to the face.
Wait, you say Keen Sasha?
No, Sheen. Oh God.
It is Keen Sasha.
Keen Shasa, excuse me. Yeah. So, anywho, of Shinsuke Nakamura patting AJ Styles on the head, and then vice versa. He has the mixed video thrown together, which is really cool. So I'll make sure that I give that to the heel to the face, so we can tweet that one out. But I love the back and forth between these two, and again, the technical match that we're going to see between these two, I think is going to live up to the hype of the Dream match.
All right, Brandon, what do you got for us for your tweet of the week?
It's at WWE Creative Humor-ish. Totally kidding. It's at Ryan Satan. He's one of the wrestling. He's one of the big names in wrestling. On the Twitter world and whatnot. So he tweeted out money promo from at Heyman Hustle, and for those who do not know, it's Paul Heyman on Raw tonight. If that didn't make you want to see Brock get his ass kicked by Roman Reigns, nothing will. I couldn't agree more. When the way that promo was cut by Paul Heyman, once again, A+ per usual. I mean, and then Roman got him some. So it was a good night. I think I'll tell you right now. I'm telling Roman's going to kick the crap out of him.
So my tweet of the week is from Aaron. His Twitter handle is at the Aaron Brand, and I see the one of the replies to this, and it kind of takes me back to from conversations we've had on this show. Paul, you'll understand when you hear it. So he says, Aaron, cannot wait for Primo to be the runner-up in the Andre and win a six-pack challenge and become the WWE champion at Backlash this year. Kind of a homage to what we saw with Jinder Mahal last year.
Yes.
And I'm going to actually honor at Celtic Alpha 2, Nathan Albino. He responded, well, they got to do the expansion into Puerto Rico.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
I appreciate the Puerto Rican love there.
I was going to say, if you remember last year, Brandon gave us the whole, well, they're going on that Indian tour. They're going on the Indian tour.
There's a whole
they go. So they got to go on a Puerto Rican tour. Give Primo the belt.
No, there's no offense to. Paul, I know you're a Puerto Rican brother, so
That's true.
No ill towards them, but there's a lot more people in India. So I don't.
Whoa! What in the name of Jinder Mahal?
I'm just saying, there's more. India is one of the most populated countries in the world.
It's kind of funny that we mentioned this, but yeah. The person who won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 32 this year will mark the second consecutive WrestleMania he is on the kickoff show. Speaking of Baron Corbin, the guy who was a runner-up in the kickoff show Battle Royal last year, Jinder Mahal, he had a world title run last year.
How does that work?
Yeah.
So what does this mean with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? What does that mean?
Here's the boost you get. It's called your paycheck. You're on WrestleMania officially, so you get a paycheck. That's the boost that you get. Like after that, no more.
It should be a future championship. That's what it should be.
Well,
that's what I would do if you're going to have this type of match. Put a little more steam behind it. You're almost not like a Money in the Bank, but it's like you get a future championship match of your opponent of your choosing. So you could choose Raw or SmackDown.
Well, we'll get into that in just a little bit, but it is now time for our WrestleMania Twitter question of the week. So this week was kind of a running question. We kind of did a bunch of matchups with some of the best WrestleMania promo videos leading up to the WrestleMania matches, whether they be most likely the main event themselves or other matches on the WrestleMania card. Used a lot of great music from Drowning Pool, obviously Limp Bizkit, Avenged Sevenfold, Civil Twilight, Imagine Dragons. So without getting into each individual matchup and who won each individual matchup on our Twitter question of the week, or our Twitter questions pretty much of the day, we'll ask the panel here. Paul, what is a promo video in WrestleMania history that you felt was really well done, maybe your favorite, that got you super hyped for that match?
I think it was a couple of years ago that John Cena, and there was like a video of him driving around, and all of a sudden he smashed through the glass, jumped out, and there's a million John Cenas. I think that John Cena's done a lot of them, and he's been kind of the face of the franchise for quite a long time. I haven't gotten the number yet. I got to double check on.
I think you're referring to like two different WrestleMania. So WrestleMania 23, he drove the Mustang through the glass in Detroit.
Okay.
And then WrestleMania 25, I want to say, is the one where he came out with a million John Cenas dressed like him.
I thought that was later.
I trust
Might have been
Jared
26.
And his blood types and what WrestleMania was where. So I know he's got all the analytics and the stats there. But I'll go with the Mustang Smash Glass then.
So that's not really a promo video. That's more like an entrance. But
come on, man.
We'll take it for now.
Yeah, Paul, way to answer the question.
So Brandon, let me ask you. I know that you were studying up on some of these videos before the show started.
Yeah, to refresh my memory.
What is a video that you felt when you watched this video with this music package that you said, regardless of what happens at the match, the match itself might be garbage, but the promo to the match, it gets you hyped. It got you excited.
Oh, it's a no-brainer for me. I mean, it was cool because when you put the Twitter questions up, these little, the tweet of the days. When you put up the Rock Austin at Mania 19 with the Limp Bizkit Crack Addict song, I mean, I thought to myself, I remember that one. That was good when I was watching it.
And Limp
Bizkit
Bizkit performed that song that night at WrestleMania 19.
And we went and actually before the show, we went and watched a few back, and I'm like, this is why this is my favorite. So to me, Rock Austin, Mania 19, Limp Bizkit song.
So many people, and even on the Twitter question of the week, because one time somebody responded, and I said a video that was my favorite, and somebody responded that nobody rivals this one. But it seems pretty consensus that the best one ever was My Way with Limp Bizkit.
See, I didn't
Austin versus Rock, WrestleMania 17.
Overhyped.
Sorry. And that song for that whole pay-per-view. I mean, WrestleMania 17, a lot of people consensus that's the best WrestleMania of all time. So, the hype match.
Is that your favorite?
That's my favorite WrestleMania of all time. And it's pretty consensus that most people say that.
To me, it's a little overhyped. It's a good, I'm a Limp Bizkit guy.
But you pick Limp Bizkit, the secondary song, Crack Addict. Because I'm addicted to cracking skulls when punk starts static. That's the line in the song.
Well, here's the thing. It's a good song. And obviously, in our broadcasting.
When's Limp Bizkit going in the Celebrity Hall of Fame?
They should soon. But the reason why I chose that one is not only the music is really good, it was really poignant for, the video. The way they cut the video, to me, the overall package, you got to look at the whole package. Music, with the way they cut the clips up, to me, it was number one.
I'm going to go with, even though I really like the WrestleMania 17 one, I'm going to try to throw some more stuff out there. And I kind of really like this one. There's actually a bunch that I like, but I'll pick this one. The Imagine Dragons from WrestleMania 30, when Daniel Bryan took on Triple H to start the show, and they show the Daniel Bryan video of him being, they show all the original clips of him when he was younger on the indie scene and Ring of Honor and the Independents. And that whole song of Becoming a Monster, essentially what the Yes Movement did is became a monster. And the song gets louder and hypes up and faster as it shows him getting the backing of the crowd and the hype behind him. Because it starts small with him small and then hypes up as it shows the Yes Movement behind him before the match, Triple H. I thought that was, and it was great because it kicked off the show. It kicked off WrestleMania 30. You had the Hulk Hogan thing at the start, but the first match, you already were like hyped. You want to see Daniel Bryan succeed. You want to see him be this great underdog that he was. So I'm going to pick Imagine Dragons Monster from WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan versus Triple H.
That's not a bad one.
All right. So, Paul, any other come to mind? Any actual WrestleMania promos?
Yeah, actual promos, not entrances, Paul.
I just give up. I was trying to do research all week, and apparently I was researching the wrong thing.
We'll give you A for effort.
We'll give that greatest entrance. So let me ask you, Brandon, what is your favorite WrestleMania entrance?
Oof.
That's his favorite WrestleMania entrance, so he can be included.
You put me on the spot. I haven't gone back and watched all the the entrances over the years. I personally, anything with Triple H is fantastic at WrestleMania.
A lot of people didn't like it.
one.
WrestleMania 32 when he had all the people with the skulls. I thought that was the skeleton skulls, and Stephanie McMahon was sitting on the throne.
That was cool.
I really liked that.
I like that one. I mean, I like the one when they're on the bike. That was cool. I enjoyed that. I mean, to me, any of the Triple H ones are good. I can't really come up with a one to really just decide it, but anything Triple H is good.
I'm probably a big Triple H fan, but I'm going to pick this one because this one just seemed very unique to me. WrestleMania 29 when Undertaker came out to face CM Punk. Now he came out and there were the hands from under the stage, like he was coming from hell, and there were all these hands.
I remember that one.
I'm going to pick that as my favorite WrestleMania entrance. Because Undertaker's entrances are really cool, but a lot of times they're very generic in a sense because we've seen them all. But that was very unique with these hands coming out from under the smoke. Looked like he was coming up from hell. Yeah,
it's a different, because I mean, you've seen one Taker entrance, you kind of seen them all. That's a little bit different. I like that one too. I agree.
All right, so we got our favorite WrestleMania entrances. We got our favorite WrestleMania promos. When we come back, we are going to break down WrestleMania 34. I was going to say 32 for some reason because that was in my head.
We were
So
talking about
WrestleMania 34 this Sunday, New Orleans, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. We're going to break everything down. It's nothing but WrestleMania 34 when we get back, as you are listening to the WrestleMania special of the Heel to the Face podcast on Sports War Radio, Rat Pack Radio, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and on YouTube.
The New York Jets are rising and are ready to compete in the AFC. Boy Green and Ty Butler will give you everything you need to know about the Jets every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. From reviewing the previous game and looking ahead to the next matchup, to all of the news and 4 downs, the Jet Zone has everything. Follow @BoyGreen25 and @TyDButler on Twitter. Proud member of Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
This program is simulcast on WRPR Rat Pack Radio. Go to ratpacksports.com for more information.
Do you want to stay up to date on the latest sports news? Come check out After the Whistle from 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday night. We talk about the NHL, we talk about the NFL, we talk about the MLB, you name it, we got it. Tune in on Sports War Radio.
Now is the time to get your voice heard. Sports War Radio is now accepting applications for driven and knowledgeable sports fans who want to start their very own podcast about their favorite team. Sports War Radio has an international audience and is growing fast. Don't miss the chance to become the go-to news source for your favorite team. Email sportswarradio@gmail.com and tell us why you would be a great addition to our team. Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
Now is the time to get your voice heard. Sports War Radio is now accepting applications for driven and knowledgeable sports fans who want to start their very own podcast about their favorite team. Sports War Radio has an international audience and is growing fast. Don't miss the chance to become the go-to news source for your favorite team. Email sportswarradio@gmail.com and tell us why you would be a great addition to our team. Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
Let's get back to the action. This is the Heel to the Face podcast on Sports War Radio.
We are back. WrestleMania 34 this upcoming weekend. Sunday night from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. So without further ado, let's get to the show. Paul, Brandon, myself, we are all here. Let's start hyping up WrestleMania 34 this upcoming Sunday night from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. We'll start with the kickoff show. We're going to run this thing right down. The kickoff show had already been announced. 3 matches will be on the kickoff show. most likely the show is going to get started just like it did last year with the Cruiserweight Championship. Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. And, well, wouldn't you guess it, they wanted to hype up the Cruiserweights, and they didn't do a good job because it's on the kickoff show another year. Let's start with your take on that, Brandon. What do you think about that being on the kickoff show another year?
That's fine, because honestly, the cruiserweight division's been kind of boring since Enzo Amore's been gone. So, that's their own fault. So to pick.
Does this make it better though by putting on the? You're just pretty much perpetuating the stereotype.
Yeah, I mean, why waste the main event spot? Main show spot for this. To be honest with you, I mean, they're not amping it up enough. So to me, I think it would still be a decent match. I mean, if I picking out of the two here, I'm gonna go Cedric Alexander.
All right. Paul, what are you thinking about this Cruiserweight? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to be the new Cruiserweight champion, the first one since Enzo Amore gave up the belt?
I think that something special is going to happen here. An atomic bomb is going to go off in the ring with both superstars in. Thus, both superstars, I think, are going to lose. So I will pick a draw.
You think both are going to lose and the Cruiserweight belt is still going to remain vacant?
Yes. I imagine that the Cruiserweight title will remain vacant because of some unknown reason. My suggestion is probably an atomic bomb going off in the ring. If that does not happen, I believe somehow the title will still be vacant. There's a twist coming here to spice things up.
I'm going to take Cedric Alexander. Not to be that kind of prognosticator as Paul was. I'm going to just take Cedric Alexander. He was essentially always the runner-up behind Enzo Amore. He was the only other quote-unquote name in that Cruiserweight division. So I think they're just going to give it to him. Now let's move on to what will probably be in the second hour of the kickoff show. So I feel the Cruiserweight match is going to be in the first hour. And then 2 Battle Royals in the second. We'll start with the Women's Battle Royal. You got Sasha Banks, Natalya, Becky Lynch, Naomi, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan, Bayley, Lana, and probably a few more, maybe even somebody from NXT. We'll start you, Paul. Where do you think this Women's Battle Royal, you got any early favorites?
I'm leaning in a lot of different directions here because there's a lot of intrigue, and I like that we've just knocked down the glass ceiling. There's so many different Women's Battle Royal matches, and there's Women's Battle Royal. There was the Elimination Chamber this year. There were so many different things in it. But if I had to pick one, if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Naomi. I think Naomi's going to win it.
Naomi, last year she won the belt in her hometown. This year she's going to win the Battle Royal.
There you go.
That's a decent pick. I'm going to go. I feel the Sasha Banks and Bayley are going to cost themselves the match. They're going to kind of keep that feud going. So I'm going to go with Becky Lynch.
To your point, Jared, I think it's going to happen like this. It's going to be Sasha Banks and Bayley, the last 2 in the ring.
It's going to be like Royal Rumble 94. They're going to be like a double elimination. And we're going to be like, who's the winner?
Paul, you're going to love it for this one, buddy. Bayley is going to win it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
A year and a half later, and he's still on the Bayley train.
Absolutely.
That's still here? Come on.
So let's move on to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. The men's time at the Battle Royal. Who do you think is going to take home the men's Andre the Giant Battle Royal? We'll start with Brandon. I'm
going to go out of the blue. I'm going to say Ty Dillinger is going to win this one. I think he needs it's a much needed boost for his career. I think he's been underutilized. The perfect 10. He's it's one of my guys. I think this is going to be a little bit of momentum that he needs.
I thought you were going to go with Scott Dawson, but that's a good pick, Paul. Who do you have for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal?
I'm going to go with who should be the favorite, but he's not, Breezango.
Breezango should be the favorite. So really, anybody can. Look at the people who've won this. Mojo Rawley. So that's the one thing. There really isn't anyone off the table that could win this.
To me, the favorite is Baron Corbin, I think.
I would say if
but
there was
he already won it, man.
Yeah, but he's still the favorite to repeat or be a 2-time champion.
You know who I think's going to win? Dolph Ziggler, and I think he's going to smash the trophy. Did we forget about that? Did we forget about his little...
That's not bad.
Did we forget about his little issue? It just swept right under the rug. He gave up the U.S. belt, was too good for wrestling, left, and then came back, and is right back in there. Imagine if you're like, listen, I'm going to quit this job if you don't give me a raise. And they're like, well, we're not giving you a raise. And you're like, I'm out of here. I'm going to get the hell out of here. And you stormed out the door, you smashed the door, you left, and a month later, you came back. and they're like, all right, we'll give you a raise. And then like the next day, they're like, nah, just kidding. Get back to work. And then you're like, all right, yeah, okay, cool. Like, what was that whole thing about?
Is that who you're going with? You going with Ziggler?
I'm going with Dolph Ziggler, and I think he's going to smash the trophy, and then Tuesday on SmackDown, if he doesn't smash the trophy right away, he'll smash it Tuesday on SmackDown, and then he'll start his little tirade of like, what am I doing? Why did I come back? Just to be put back in the same situation I was before. So let's move on now to what we believe to be the main show, and I'm not, official that maybe one of these matches won't get thrown onto the kickoff show. We'll start with Brandon, if you were to pick a match that would be thrown onto the kickoff show, do you think what match would you pick to be put back on the kickoff show? Like a last minute. We've seen this in years past. Matches get switched around. So any matches you think that might be on the main card right now, but might be on the kickoff show come WrestleMania night?
To put me on the spot, I would say Usos, New Day, and Bludgeon Brothers.
I would say that as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So with that being said, let's say that that's going to kick off the show. I don't think it's going to kick off the show because they like to kick off the show with a bang, and we just admitted that that is not a bang.
No.
But let's start with that match anyways. The Usos, New Day, and the Bludgeon Brothers, the tag team championships on the line. Brandon, I know you're a big Usos fan. Are they retaining at WrestleMania 34?
Yes, the Usos are the best tag team in the world right now, so I don't see why they would not keep the titles.
Paul, who do you think is leaving WrestleMania 34 with the SmackDown tag team belt? Is Rochester's own Luke Harper and the Bludgeon Brothers going to be crowned tag team champions on the grandest stage of them all?
You hit the nail on the head. The Bludgeon Brothers and the Central New York representation will finally reach gold again. Yes, give me the Bludgeon Brothers.
I am going to take the New Day. I felt that they were quite popular when they were tag team champions. Last year, they sat out WrestleMania to be the host. And to be honest with you, I was very disappointed in the segment that I saw with them on SmackDown this past Tuesday night, where they used their are they wrestlers or are they just like there for the promos?
Sideshow.
Because in the back, they were promoting the WrestleMania was free on the WWE Network. Thankfully, the Usos came in and were like, yeah, it's going to be free, but you're going to have to pay a price because, quote unquote, we still have to have an actual wrestling promo. It'd suck if Triple H came out to the ring before a match at WrestleMania. It was like, I just want to say how awesome it is that there's 10 million followers on our Twitter account and that we've got the most social media presence. Like, you're a wrestler.
Thanks.
You're supposed to perform.
Thanks.
So, New Day, I was kind of disappointed that they used them as a commercial. But I still think that they're going to give them the belts because they're both the promo of being the host of WrestleMania one year, but they just...
I sure as hell hope not.
I just feel that they're like...
I'm over the New Day. I've been over the New Day since
they're
they
kind
came
of
out.
this thing in the WWE PG era. They seem to love people like the New Day who can be like over and PG at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to move on now to another match that's got 3 competitors involved, from 3 tag teams to 3 competitors for the Intercontinental Championship, a match that I feel might kick off WrestleMania 34, especially if you heard, let's say Finn Balor's music right after the pyro, or the quote-unquote, hopefully we have pyro, goes off at WrestleMania 34. Finn Balor's music hits, and we kick off WrestleMania with a bang. Who knows where we're going to start, but I'm going to say that this match kicks off WrestleMania. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. We start with you, Paul. Is Miz leaving WrestleMania as the champion? Is another super long Intercontinental Championship reign in his future?
Well, I do got to start off with some disappointing news. Budget cuts, no pyro. I'm sorry, at WrestleMania. Budget cuts, my man. And
are you on the budget committee?
Yeah, I've heard things. Sources have told me that, and it kind of sucks, all this budget cutting nonsense anyway, but I don't want to get off on a tangent. Yes, I do believe The Miz will somehow retain. It's going to be a really good match. You got Seth Rollins, you got Finn Balor, you got The Miz. I mean, that's going to be a really good match. I also guess that that's going to be the start of WrestleMania, the official start of WrestleMania anyway. So, yeah, I think The Miz continues this wild Intercontinental Championship title reign.
Brandon, who do you think is going to leave WrestleMania with the belt?
Finn Balor, baby. There's no doubt about it in my book. I think it's time to put another title on around his waist. It's been long overdue. I think he's the perfect Intercontinental Champion. So
I want to see The Miz win essentially for the fact that we were talking, the New Day a couple years ago were the longest reigning tag team champs in WWE history. The Miz is looking to pass Honky Tonk Man's longest reigning Intercontinental Championship reign, but I don't think he's going to do it. I think Finn Balor is going to win as well. Finn Balor, remember, the first Universal Champion, went out on injury, missed WrestleMania last year, and since he's come back, we thought, well, he's going to get the belt right away. He's going to be put right in the main event situation. He hasn't held the belt all year since he's been back, and I think this is his time. They're finally going to, kind of what they did with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 31 after he held the belt at WrestleMania 30, and then went out on injury, came back at WrestleMania 31, and won that IC title match to kick off WrestleMania and become the IC champion. I think this year they're going to kick off with the Intercontinental Championship, and Finn Balor's going to get that quote-unquote redemption and be the champion again. Moving on to another match with multiple competitors, the Intercontinental Championship of SmackDown, better known as the United States Championship. The champion who won it at the final pay-per-view before WrestleMania, Randy Orton, defends against Bobby Roode, the former champion, and two men who were thrown into the mix, Jinder Mahal and Rusev, who I heard was thrown into this match because he was asking for his WWE release, and similar to Ultimate Warrior's demands back in the early 90s, where he pretty much, put Vince McMahon up against the wall, said, do something with me or pay me or what, or I'm out of here. Rusev was thrown into this match.
Is there a lot of truth to that?
There is a lot of truth to the fact that Ultimate Warrior pretty much the night of...
I mean the Rusev.
I don't know the truth to that, but that's the rumors going around is that Rusev pretty much said, do something with me or I'm gone. And so now he's in the United States Championship match, the Fatal 4-Way. First of all, to a finish. Brandon, who is leaving with the U.S. Championship?
Whew.
Don't say Jinder Mahal.
Randy Orton. I think he retains.
I am going to say Rusev is very over right now. Rusev Day will also be WrestleMania. He's leaving with the Intercontinental belt. Paul, what do you got?
Couldn't agree more. Rusev Day. Yeah, that's definitely happening.
I forgot to mention before, happy Rusev Day to you, Paul.
Yes, and same to you, my brother.
All right, we move on to one of the women's matches. We'll start with the Raw women's match, the least hyped up. It's Brains versus Braun, but which one would be the Brains? David versus Goliath, however you want to put this. Alexa Bliss and her all like a 5'1" frame against the one we thought, the big show, the Braun Strowman of the women's division, Nia Jax. Who do you think is leaving with the women's belt? We'll start with you, Paul.
Oh man, this is tugging at my heartstrings. Alexa Bliss is my baby girl. Sweet Caroline. I think Nia Jax has to eventually win. She can't just be this jobber her entire career. So I got to say, with all the build-up and kind of Alexa making fun of her, I think Nia Jax finally wins it.
I'm going to say Nia Jax wins, and I think that's going to set up for maybe something good with Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax. But it's going to be finally cool to have a woman who's going to be like that, the Brock Lesnar of the division. Unbeatable, I guess. Who's going to be able to take on Nia Jax. So I'm going to say Nia Jax wins and starts not a very, but, a decently long women's championship reign.
Clean sweep, Nia Jax.
All right, move on to the more hyped one. The winner of the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, Asuka, taking on Charlotte Flair, because even she knows that, yes, Alexa Bliss, that's the reason why we picked against her, but there's just something about her that doesn't, elude that aura of awesome wrestling. And when it comes to women's wrestling, Alexa Bliss is very good and all, but Charlotte's got that, flair. She's got that tradition. She's got that prestige.
That's cool.
So Asuka challenges Flair in what is basically the WrestleMania version of AJ versus Shinsuke for the women's division.
Yeah.
Asuka takes on Charlotte. Does the streak end for Asuka? Was it 500 days now? Undefeated streak in WWE. Does that end at WrestleMania, or will she become the SmackDown Women's Champion? We'll start with you, Brandon.
I think Asuka is going to win. And as a side note, I am going to predict a Carmella cash-in and unsuccessful cash-in. And Asuka's going to leave not only beat Charlotte, and she's also going to beat the Money in the Bank.
I'm going to take Asuka because of the fact that she's got so much riding on that streak, and she doesn't have the Undertaker's allure. So essentially, when she loses the streak, that's going to be losing a lot. So I don't think they're going to lose the streak because it's hard to pick back up from that. Paul, what do you think?
Here's the thing. Brandon must have been looking at my notes from far away. This is what I'm going to say. Asuka's going to win, and the only way that streak can end is by a fluke, and that's going to be Carmella smacking her in the back of the head with the Money in the Bank, and then Carmella walking away from WrestleMania with the championship.
I think they're going to, to me, Paul, I think that's going to happen, where Carmella's going to try to cash in, but I think just to build Asuka up even more as this, unbeatable person, I think she's going to win.
Money in the Bank failures?
Yeah, why not?
That both in the same year, and then just kind of say, "Oh man, I guess just because you win it doesn't guarantee you anything."
I think, I think that's the way you're going to sell it.
All right, moving on now to our main event matches. We'll start with
you forgot one. Cesaro and Sheamus.
You're right. Well, technically, it's not even on the card. All right, you are right. So, Braun Strowman and his mystery partner versus Cesaro and Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team Champions. Who do you think is going to come out and tag with Strowman? Rules state that he has to have somebody, so he can't be a one-man gang here. I'm saying it's going to be Rey Mysterio, and then they win the belts. Kind of that odd couple.
Come on, Jared. Why are you going to steal my thunder? I was going to say the exact same thing. And I was going to say Braun and Rey are going to win.
What about you, Paul? What do you think is going to happen in that tag team match?
Man, I think that's, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure the Bar is going to win no matter who the tag team partner is because it's probably a one-off. But, man, I've been floating between because I've heard Rey Mysterio. That's the popular pick. And I was trying to go with some old-school guy like a Hulk Hogan. He's not going to be there. But
he's also really old.
Yeah, right, that's true. But someone like crazy like that would a pop that I think we're not expecting. But I'll ride.
Hulk Hogan would be a pop I am not expecting.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a lot of rumors that he's making his way back into the WWE family again, and obviously trying to mend some fences. So that would be quite a way to get back into it.
Although that pop you heard was his hip because
he's like 96 years old.
Yeah, that's true. But, no, give me, sure, I'll ride with Rey Mysterio, but I think it's going to be a different pop than you guys are thinking, but I think still the Bar will win.
All right, so now we move on to our quote-unquote main event matches. We'll start with the SmackDown Tag Team main event match. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. Daniel Bryan back in the ring for the first time in about 2 years, taking on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Brandon, who do you think is going to win this match?
How in the hell can you bring Daniel Bryan back and not have him win a WrestleMania? Going with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon.
I'm going to go. I'll pick right now. I'm going with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to get their jobs back because Daniel Bryan, we all want to see him, but it's not so much win-loss records with him. It's like the Undertaker. Undertaker could be, or Triple H. They're both like Triple H especially. I think he's got a losing record at WrestleMania, but we still want to keep seeing him. Daniel Bryan, if he loses this match, we still want to keep seeing him. So they can easily.
That's a way to ruin his return, though.
Yeah, but he's got greater pastures in the future. I just want to see a good performance, but I'm picking Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to win this match. Paul, what do you got?
I'm taking Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but that's because Daniel Bryan turns on Shane McMahon and lights him up like a Christmas tree.
Oh, you think Shane versus...
That's interesting.
That's what we thought we were going to get at WrestleMania months ago.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that builds up maybe something for the future.
That's a good take.
What about the other tag team match on Monday Night Raw side? We talked about enough. Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. Now, this, I feel, is one of those, obvious picks versus Stephanie McMahon, Triple H. I'm going Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. It's like John Cena winning at a house show, with kids in attendance.
I'm just gonna, before Paul, goes on this long tangent about how much he loves Ronda Rousey. We know who you're picking. You don't have to tell us that. It's gonna be Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle.
Now, the odd thing is, though, remember, Sting made his WrestleMania debut in Sting's one and only WrestleMania match against Triple H, and for some reason, Triple H won that match against Sting. They bring in Sting. They have this big hype video. They finally after years,
not losing her
and
debut.
then they bury him at WrestleMania. So could that be a way welcome to WWE and give Triple H the win? It's weird because again, when we all wanted Triple H to win at WrestleMania 32 against Roman Reigns, he gives it to Roman Reigns. When we all wanted Triple H to win maybe against Seth Rollins wins. But then when we obviously thought it was going to be Sting, we're like, it's Sting, and we're okay with it being Sting. You're going to lose to Sting. You're hyping up Sting. How could you not lose to Sting? You've put WCW down. This is your way as redemption. And then he puts WCW down and beats Sting. So sometimes they do things that don't make any sense. But this is a match. This is a match I'm about to mention that makes a lot of sense. And thankfully, despite all the bumps in the road, we got what we were advertised at the Royal Rumble. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, the WWE Championship on the SmackDown side. I'm hoping this is a 30-minute classic. I'm hoping we get something that wrestling fans, both of New Japan and WWE alike, want to see. Who do you think is leaving with the belt? Shinsuke or AJ? Paul, we start with you.
Man, this is obviously the technical match of the night. This could be one of the greatest matches we've ever seen. I know there's a lot of hype train built into this, but you got to think that with everything that Shinsuke Nakamura has been through, that he's going to find a way to win this match. My gut's telling me AJ Styles, but my brain is telling me Shinsuke winning the Rumble and finding a way to get the championship.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of times that the Royal Rumble winner doesn't get to cash it in. Either way, the fans are going to win. I'm hoping, at least.
Yeah, and, I was going to say, the real winner here are the fans. But if we have to choose between the two, as much as I'm an AJ Styles guy,
I'm going to give it to Shinsuke as well.
Shin's time, man. It's time for him to be a champ.
And finally, I'll go against the grain. I think Brock Lesnar is leaving WrestleMania 34 with the belt.
Come on.
And regardless...
Come on. He's not leaving. He's leaving to UFC.
I think he's leaving the UFC for a little bit as well, but he's going to be having the WWE belt because Vince McMahon would just what would be even better? The reason you bring Brock Lesnar is a big promotion machine, so him going to UFC, that's only just going to help promote the WWE.
He's gone. He's gone. Roman Reigns is getting it.
Like WWE back in the late 80s and early 90s when Hulk Hogan was champion for 5 years in a row. Brock Lesnar, I want to see him just
think of it this way. Think of it this way. No Seth Rollins is going to steal Roman's moment.
Samoa Joe, come on.
No. Roman Reigns.
Maybe him?
It's Roman Reigns' moment. He's
already had a moment.
He's getting his moment again.
He's going to get... it stinks because we were all excited that he didn't get his moment at WrestleMania 31, and then they're just going to be like, well, don't worry, we'll do that again. You're like, no, we liked WrestleMania 31. That was our favorite part.
You hate Roman Reigns, so...
Paul, what do you want? What are you going to see? What do you want to see during the quote-unquote Universal Championship match?
This is tough because, the fan in me wants the WWE Universe to embrace the full-time guy in Roman Reigns and throw Brock Lesnar back into the UFC, but I have this weird feeling that, Jared, you may be right, that somehow, some way, Brock Lesnar beats Roman Reigns and then goes over to the UFC. But I just can't go with your pick. I have to go with my mind here that Roman Reigns, all the build-up, he's going to smash around Brock Lesnar. Maybe not as bad as that Goldberg time, but I do believe that Roman Reigns comes away with it. But I could envision a scenario where he gets kind of championship in both potentially as he dances between the two.
And one final takeaway from WrestleMania, obviously not an official match, John Cena versus The Undertaker. Forget who's going to win the match. You can give me that, who's going to win the match if you think. But what do you expect with that? We'll start with you, Brandon.
Honestly, I could see John Cena, going out, maybe cutting a little promo. Like, it's WrestleMania day. I guess I'm here as a fan. Maybe, here, you know what? Let me give Undertaker one more, little nudge. Undertaker's music hits. They have the match. John Cena wins.
Paul, what do you think's going to happen at WrestleMania 34?
John Cena's going to come out to the ring. He's going to call out The Undertaker for 20 minutes, and then Undertaker, you're going to hear his music, and it's going to take him another 20 minutes to get down to the ring, and then he'll come into the match, and then a match will ensue for 3 minutes, and then everyone will go on their happy way. I do think that a match of some kind is going to happen at WrestleMania. I don't think it's going to... It's like the Manny Pacquiao-Floyd Mayweather fight. It was a fight we wanted to see 20 years too late. And I don't know how much chutzpah we're going to get from the actual match, but I do think we're going to get something. And the other thing, this is obviously going to be before the Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar match. And, a lot of the buildup has been, hey, the two men that have taken out Undertaker at WrestleMania are going to face off. I doubt that John Cena would join that exclusive club ahead of that match. So I don't know if you just send Undertaker out on a good note with this kind of match. I'm not sure. So I'm not really sure what we're going to see, but I do think we end up getting a match in Undertaker.
I think we got one or two scenarios. Now, if we have a match, I think the match is going to go to The Undertaker winning the match. If we don't have a match, then I think we're going to have them hype up a match for WrestleMania next year in New York, New Jersey at WrestleMania 35.
Yep, that's a good one.
Because they saw the success they had with Rock versus John Cena. So give it a full year to hype up Undertaker versus John Cena and maybe even make it official. It's going to be Undertaker's last match. But to your point, I think with The Undertaker coming out, if he comes out as the dead man, they'll speed things up because he'll be riding out on a motorcycle. So it won't be. It's funny. When he comes out as the dead man, very slow. When he comes out as the biker, Undertaker,
he's flying,
the big dog, if you will, he's the fastest entrance. So it's quite the dichotomy of entrances depending on which Undertaker.
Hop on the bike.
So I think if we see a match, Undertaker's going to win. I think most likely, though, I think we might see a hype up for WrestleMania 35. And it's perfect because John Cena and Undertaker can then go away after WrestleMania. So we don't have to obviously have this hype up on a weekly basis.
True.
Because they're going to go away after WrestleMania, filming movies. John Cena's got something to do. And then we'll repick this up in the summertime.
SummerSlam.
Well, not at summer, but
they'll do something at SummerSlam maybe. Or
they'll have like the contract signing at SummerSlam or something.
Something ridiculous.
And then go away again.
Yeah.
All right. So that is going to do it for our WrestleMania predictions. That is going to do it for this week's edition of the show. The Heel to the Face podcast WrestleMania special is in the books for Brandon the Icebreaker Clements, for myself, Jared Wicks. And don't forget Paul Boy Green Esden, who joined us this week. WrestleMania 34 this Sunday. Everything WrestleMania this weekend in New Orleans. Myself from the Heel to Face podcast will be in New Orleans, so stay tuned for some videos from Friday night, Saturday night, and even Sunday during the show. Might even throw one out Monday before the big elusive Raw after Mania. Who knows? We've got some more videos coming your way. I'm going to put out a video of the things that I would like to see changed about WrestleMania. I've already talked with Brandon about this. There's all sorts of things that WrestleMania, while it is the greatest show of the year, could definitely use some tweaks and changes here or there to really put it over the top, and I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I will point those out in a YouTube video you can see later on this week. But either way, stay tuned to our Twitter account because we've got something all the time, from our tweets of the week to our Twitter questions to our YouTube links to our Spreaker links. Everything you need to know is at Heel to the Face on Twitter. So once again, for Brandon the Icebreaker Clements, for Paul Boy Green as in, and myself, Jared Wicks, this has been the Heel to the Face podcast on Sports War Radio, Rat Pack Radio, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and on YouTube. Enjoy WrestleMania. It is the new year of WWE, and when the clock turns midnight, we'll be right back here next week to start a brand new sports entertainment calendar. Until then, we'll see ya.